So today we're talking about the Demolitionist talent tree specialization from Dangerous Covenants for Star Wars Edge of the Empire, the Hired Gun career, one of their talent trees. And you might have noticed I have the Age of Rebellion core rulebook also out. Why is that? That's weird, you might be saying. Well, it's because the Engineer career's Saboteur specialization, you know, the really weird, just basically pure damage dealer via explosives and explosive weapons character that the Engineer has in this. Well, Demolitionist is basically just that, but better in nearly every conceivable way in terms of being an explodey damage dealer. It's fantastic, and I almost think that this might have come out before Saboteur. I'm not sure though, I don't feel like looking up the timeline. If so, that is so weird, because it's Saboteur and what Saboteur does, but better in a couple different ways. And also, there's some nice little nuggets from the sapper from here that builds stuff and knocks stuff down from that stuff injected into this tree. It's amazing. It's fantastic. Let's talk about it. All right, let's find the Saboteur so I can watch this from the closet and cry. Demolitionist. First of all, we have a couple ranks of a talent which will make your blast attacks more damaging, but not all blast attacks. Only grenades, explosive weapons, and explosives and grenades, and even explosive weapons almost kind of sounds redundant, sort of, kind of. Not really. We'll get to this in a minute. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, okay, it helps me with grenades and explosives, but those could be expensive, or you know, the encumbrance, like how many am I going to have around? Is it worth it? A really hyper-specialized combat tree, it might not work out, it might not be enjoyable. Shut your cake hole, it's amazing. We'll get to why later. Some of my viewers already know why. Anyway, so we got a couple ranks of that. You do more damage with the explosions, and I think this is one way in which it is objectively better than Saboteur, because we get an extra rank that Saboteur didn't get, right? Yeah. Better than Saboteur already. Another talent we get is Grenadier. This makes it easier to activate the blast quality of any and all weapons. That would include shotguns or flamethrowers, your acid spray stuff, things like that, which powerful blast doesn't help us at all, even though those are blast type weapons. So we have this thing that will help us with a wide variety of weapons as long as they are blast. But it's kind of weird, isn't it? If only there was some weapon out there that would match both of these descriptions, that would help us and be amazing and be the most objectively best weapon to get with this talent tree. If only. Now you might be saying to yourself, if I'm lobbing all these explosions, or I'm shotgunning with the blast, or whatever else I have, I mean, all that area of effect stuff, that's gonna harm the teammates, right? I gotta be really careful with that, right? Wrong, idiot! We have a couple talents which will help us shield allies, because we can do like a shaped charge sort of a thing with one of them. Selective detonation. You can use this to exclude allies or whoever else you want from an attack. Maybe you could exclude an enemy, right? I mean, does it specify? Exclude one target. Yeah, exclude an enemy. I don't see why you couldn't. Even if it said ally, you should be able to exclude an enemy. Anyway, you're there for one particular target, but he's surrounded himself with henchmen. You gotta take this one guy alive. So you drop a grenade right at his feet. It blows up all of the people around him, but not him, because it was like a shaped charge. You built it in just the right way, or modified it in just the right way, or threw it in just the right way. However they do it, you done did it, and you just take your target. That would be awesome. Also, of course, I guess if you have like a marauder or a melee person or whoever else just might be in the blast radius, well, I guess you could spare their life, you know, if they were good to you. If they're building you good equipment or healing you on time, right? I wish I could snap better. If they're healing you on time and they're not dragging their ass about it, if they're doing all they need to do, then you can spare them if you want with selective detonation. Another way to save their dumb ass from getting exploded by all your awesome explosionists, we have Time to Go, Basic and Improved, where basically you can grab them and just get out of the way of an explosion. I mean, well, that's like the advanced version, right? It starts off, it just helps you, avoid your own explosions, just like I guess you could with the selective detonation, although if you use selective detonation, that's way cooler. You just hold up a grenade and it explodes and everyone around you goes down and you're fine because you're exploding this. But also you could just dodge out of the way with time to go, and with improved version you could take someone along with you. So yeah, a lot of ways of managing your explosionness so that you can just go buck wild and send them out whenever, however, don't have to worry about limitations as much, assuming you could pay the appropriate costs. It depends on how well you roll in some cases, blah, 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 blah. The other cool thing we have is, as I mentioned before, the thing from this. We have improvised detonation, basic and improved, where basically you just craft an explosive device, and it can do some really massive damage eventually, depending on how you build your character. And it just gives you one more interesting thing to do, so before we get into the really cool stuff, I guess we have to talk about, okay, so there's a little bit of grit, quite a few ranks of grit, which kind of makes sense. You're going to have a strong mind, deal well under pressure because you work with explosives, and yeah, you're not going to be as good as the Saboteur was. They had a whole ton of strain management stuff. They were really good at that, but that filler took up the whole first half of the tree. It took you forever to get any cool stuff. Well, you get like one cool thing in the second tier. This version of it has that talent in the second tier, and also another rank of it in the first tier, and a different talent in the first tier, and a different talent in the second tier. There are 4 talents, 3 different talents, 4 total talents of this cool, awesome explosion damage stuff in the first 2 tiers. Right away, you can get 2 with 10 extra points, which is pretty common to have 10 extra points after character creation. Buy 2 talents, and you already really feel like your character. That's wonderful. I love that. Another way in which this is better. Yeah, okay, you don't have the strain management that Saboteur does, but you don't really need it. It's fine. You're fine. This is a great tree, and much better than... Don't even play this. I'm going to put you over here. You disgust me. Also in line with this theme, we have some help with cool checks and skullduggery checks as well. Minor help, but, it'd be nice to have. And we do have a very little toughen, but who cares, because we have enduring, and actually pretty early. I think only the mechanic tree has it this early. So +1 to soak, that's your damage resistance. That's a wonderful talent to get, especially as soon as they do. This is just a really great tree all around, really fun combat style, and I really can't think of a reason to play Saboteur over this. We get mechanic as a career skill, and computers, and of course we get range light, and yeah, such a great tree. So yeah, you want to focus on range light because that's pistols and grenades, any kind of thrown thing. So yeah, that's most of your stuff right there. And of course mechanics, you really want to focus on that skill and have a strong intellect to match, because the damage of your improvised detonation is based off of mechanics and intellect. The higher ranks those are, the more damage you do. It can get really insane once you get those up there. So let's see, we want a high agility and we want a high intellect. And both of those are actually pretty flexible. You have a high agility, you have some good stealth and piloting. Let's see, we get planetary as a career skill because you're a hired gun. And of course, intellect is one of the most just universally useful characteristics. So much stuff you could do with mechanics alone, and then computers. And then, there's astrogation, other stuff you could do. I mean, you don't get them all as career skills, but there's a lot of utility you have to work with. There's really no reason not to do a 4-4 build. Agility and intellect. It's going to be an amazing, amazing thing to play with a wide variety of stuff to do. Yeah, you're going to have weaknesses, but who gives a crap? This is a really great tree. If you do want to have a 1-4 and then a 3, it's a toss-up. Your bread and butter, really, though, is going to be your agility as far as damage with grenades. And also the other thing you do, which we should get to the other thing we do, but yeah, if we only have 1-4, I would go with agility personally. Go with the 4-4 build though. Don't be an idiot. Go 4-4 build. That great build. Anyway, so I've been teasing you all video. The reason we want to focus on light range and what really makes this tree wonderful is that we have a fairly affordable range light weapon with the blast quality, and also has a descriptor. You know, in the description, it is an explosive weapon. Not really an official type, but it's described as an explosive weapon. So it meets all the requirements to be affected by a powerful blast and a master grenadier and all your other talents, selective detonation, whatever else. They're going to get the benefits. So it's not just grenades or other explosive devices. You have just a bread and butter, a pull out a pistol and shoot people with it thing. Here it is, the Zerka M9 Boomer Heavy Pistol. It's only 1,000 credits. Yes, of course you will have to get extra credits. You get, what, 500 to start off with, so get at least 1,000 extra and then spend that 500 on some armor. Heavy clothing is 50, that's one soak, that's not bad. You could do with the padded armor, but well, that would be the whole 1,500, wouldn't it? And then you wouldn't have any grenades. You want some grenades. Why wouldn't you want to have some grenades? So, yeah, I would go for as much money as possible. Get a Zerka Boomer Pistol. Let's see, your mechanics is going to be good enough to where you could probably fix it on a regular basis for when the GM inevitably breaks it. And some grenades, some decent armor. Because all your stuff is early, you won't feel the need to rush through the tree. So odds are you're going to be fairly comfortable getting all extra money and no extra experience points, so that will work out pretty well. Oh, and for species, I recommend the Chadra Fan from the Ace sourcebook. Couple reasons. One, they have a 3 in agility. 2, they have a 3 in intellect. And 3, it's really funny. Just picture it. Isn't it funny? Right? The little guy with the big boomer stick and the explosions and ah! It's funny, right? Do it. Play it. Now. Bye.